So hi guys, welcome back to the channel. This is our third and final part of our noodle series, and today we're having ramen. Now I know that ramen is not a traditional kind of Hong Kong noodle, but right now I think it's becoming more and more popular with different kinds of ramen as well as different franchises beginning to open up here in Hong Kong. And in this video I'll be featuring two of Japan's most famous franchises in the ramen game, which are Ichiran and Ippudo. We'll be putting them head to head and see what each ramen place has to offer. So if you haven't yet, get subscribed to the channel right now and leave a like down below if you enjoyed this video. Once again, feel free to leave any comments or suggestions down in the comment section for upcoming video content or some feedback on the videos I've already made. So once again, thank you for your support and enjoy the video. So right now we're here at our first ramen spot. We're here at Ichiran, Causeway Bay. We're gonna try the famous Ichiran ramen. So let's enjoy and let's see the ramen that they have to offer.
As you know, one of the things Ichiran is best known for is their concentration booths, meaning you eat in isolation, and this place had it.
So this is my personal ramen booth. Comes with a water dispenser and of course the menu which you're about to fill up. So yeah, I'll do this for a moment and get back to you. And then of course you get to select all the settings for your ramen, but I'm gonna go with everything recommended as it's indicated in the paper, so to have the most ideal experience here in Ichiran. So there we have it, everything as recommended by Ichiran themselves. So I'm just going with the classic tonkotsu ramen and their added Ichiran special, which is the pork, the egg, some seaweed and some mushrooms as well.
失礼しました。どうぞ失礼します。
And here we have the Ichiran ramen in all its glory. Of course, the classic red sauce on top, and look at that broth. Oh, delicious. And I got it with my extra toppings as well, some seaweed, some pork, some mushrooms, and of course soft-boiled egg, which is always recommended when you have your Ichiran ramen. So it's time to indulge.
One of my favorite things about Ichiran ramen is the broth, and as you can see, very nice thick tonkotsu broth. Very good in terms of the pork bone flavor. I really enjoyed the broth. So here I'm just gonna mix a bit of the chili sauce into the noodles and then give it a try. And so Ichiran has these yellow ramen noodles. Although I got them with a normal texture, they had enough chew in my opinion, and very good in terms of absorbing that delicious broth. Of course, it's also very important to add the toppings into the ramen itself. And I very much enjoy having wood ear mushroom with my ramen, as I think it gives a nice crunch and that slight earthiness which the overall dish needs. The chashu pork was also excellent, just that nice bit of fattiness together with that tender lean area of the meat. Very nice. So the seaweed gives it that slight saltiness, that taste of the ocean. And of course, another important feature of a bowl of ramen is the soft boiled egg. In Ichiran's case, it's a soy sauce boiled egg, so it's a bit salty in terms of the yolk, but I love how you can just spread it onto the soup and noodles. In my opinion, very well executed soft boiled egg. in a day's work. And in case you want to get rid of that oily feeling in your mouth after your ramen, Ichiran does offer this matcha pudding, which I had to try. It's almost like a matcha panna cotta, very natural green tea flavor, and I really enjoyed it as well. And overall rather expensive at 349 Hong Kong dollars, but you can also try their instant ramen.
So right now I'm here at Ippudo Ramen. I'm going to be trying the same tonkotsu broth which Ichiran offered to keep things consistent. So I decided to go with the special Shiromaru, which is the white bowl, their classic tonkotsu broth. And with that, I'll be trying their setbi, which is a mini pork don and some karaage. And here we have the Shiromaru tonkotsu, the white bowl. It's a very nice broth, very thick as you can see, very creamy. And it's got some pieces of sliced chashu as well as some nori and half an egg. So let me go ahead and try the broth first on its own. Yeah, it's very creamy. You can really taste all the pork bone flavor into it. Very solid broth. There's a lot of flavor in it. Very nice yellow noodles. And then they also have some bean sprouts actually, and this is actually lots of pork for a ramen bowl. So I think it's time to try the noodles. Let's give them a try. Yeah, the noodles are very good at absorbing all the flavor from the soup. They're like very absorbent noodles. I think it's because they're quite thin. I think for ramen noodles they're quite thin. I don't know, I got mine normal texture, so they're not too hard. I think the perfect texture for me actually. Very, very easy to slurp. Get some bean sprouts as well. And we also have some wood ear mushroom, which is one of my favorite toppings when it comes to ramen because it has very nice texture, like a crunchy contrast to the chewy noodles. So very nice. Actually, as you can see, there's this region of more orange broth. I think this may be a bit of a different flavor, different spice. So let's give this a try as well. It's not that big of a difference when you have the orange regions, but there is that bit of spice. I think maybe a bit of the flavoring from the red bowl, they may have added it to this just a bit. I also really love a bowl of ramen with a lot of green onions, and this one really a lot, so that's a very good thing in my opinion. So let's mix this all up a bit and give it a try with the onions. Take a look at all the chives you can get in this bowl of ramen, so here we go. I really love chives in the ramen. It adds a really nice, I don't know if it's called freshness, but it adds a new dimension which you won't get without your chives, so very nice to have green onions. And of course the chashu pork is very important in a bowl of ramen, so this one looks not the fattiest, it's very thin, but let's give it a try. I think it's actually a good ratio for meat to fat for a chashu. And then they're sliced very thin, so you can actually fold it like this. So let's give it a go. Yeah, not too fatty. Very nice balance actually of the fat. There's a bit of fat and then more of the lean areas. Very nice balance because it's a very thin sheet of meat. So very tender, very easy to chew. No problem at all. So let's try to add some of the seaweed to the party. Let's soak it in a bit of the broth and a bit of the noodles. So here we go. Seaweed. Once again, it's a different kind of texture. It's more of it's really paper thin, so
Not much in terms of chew, but it melts in your mouth. Just a bit of saltiness. And of course, another essential in a ramen bowl is the soft boiled egg. This one is very, very delicious looking. The yolk is just melting there. So let me give this a try with a bit of the soup. Here we go. Yeah, very nice soft boiled egg. The yolk is actually, I think in most places it's soy sauce flavored. I think this place is also the same case. So the yolk is actually flavored a bit. It's not your plain yolk. And with a bit of the broth, it goes very well. Basically, once you get towards the end of your bowl, it all starts to look something like this. Everything is mixed in. So probably just try to get a nice balanced bite of wood ear mushroom, spring onions, and ramen noodles. So something like this. Let's give this a go. Once again, it's that nice contrast of textures, which you can really notice. You have the soft noodles, the crunchy wood ear mushrooms, and then the subtle spring onions. Even the bean sprouts, actually. The bean sprouts have a really nice crunch. So I really love the contrast of textures when you have ramen. That's probably one of my most favorite things in a ramen bowl. And then, not to mention, you have that soft, silky pork. So, wow. And it's all brought together with the broth. Very flavorful. So no problems finishing the bowl of ramen. As you can see, I was able to finish it. So let's now move on to the side dishes which I ordered in the set. So you've got here like a mini pork rice set, and then some pieces of chicken karaage, which is another must, another popular side dish when you have your ramen. So let's try this out as well. These nice pieces of pork. I'm not sure if it's the same. I don't think it's the same kind of pork as the one in the ramen. These are much thicker, and I think they might have a bit more fat. So let's try this out. There's also some onions and just a bit of rice underneath. I think there's some sauce actually, so let's mix it all up. Let's try a bit of the pork first. Let's try a bite of that. It seems like another kind of barbecued pork. Like I said, it's much thicker than that of the ramen. Actually, it's quite lean as well. And then let's get a bit of the rice with the sauce. So here we go. Essentially, the rice is soaked in the sauce, I think, of the pork. So it gives a nice flavor to the rice as well. In the last part of the set, these two pieces of chicken karaage, so basically just Japanese style fried chicken. It's very lightly coated and a nice even bread. Very crunchy actually, but it's more of a very even coating. It's not like some pieces of chicken where you have a layer of skin and a layer of meat. This one is like evenly distributed, so you can actually tell where the skin starts and ends. But very nice coating, very light, nice crunch, and tender meat as well, very moist. Overall, my bill came up to 132 Hong Kong dollars.
So that was it, guys. That was the last of our 3-part noodle mini-series. I hope you enjoyed this video as well as the whole mini-series in general. Once again, feel free to leave any comments if you enjoyed me making a mini-series, or if you want any kind of mini-series or a big series to come in the future. I'll definitely take your comments into consideration. So thank you once again for your support, and see you in the next video.